of the PEM Secretary of the Ministry of Provincial Government. PEM Secretary, welcome to the committee. You have always been so smiling. Thank you so much. You have all the reason to be enthusiastic about, the situation that we are facing. We are now in the this proceeding have to carry out the inquiry into the 2026 Appropriation Bill 2025 and the associated BRICS budget estimate. This process, as you know, you've been part of it in the past, you know it very well. Other members of the committee will flock in very shortly. But we will commence the proceedings now. So, welcome to the inquiry proceedings, Madam Secretary. We will go through straight into the budget inquiry. So let me begin by just giving you some kind of a some of the common feature that seems to be seems to surface out of this process. The trend over the last 4 fiscal years have shown that since 2022 have shown that your ministry have sort of enjoyed some kind of a very incremental kind of allocation. Not so much in the first 3 years of that 5-year tracking, but more so the current and now for the 2026 in terms of the allocation, the quantum that have been given. I think there has been some increase. You have noted that. So I think you have done very well in putting up your bid to the Ministry of Finance and the Budget Division. Congratulations in making such a very, very successful bid and to maintain that kind of incremental increase to your ministry. That is a very commendable work, PEM Secretary. So currently you're sitting at something that is really comfortable. But when you compare that to the year-to-year growth, of course, it is a very, very little increment that is being given to you for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026, something like some 6% incremental. But nevertheless, I'm sure that you have also enjoyed some kind of a comfortable throughput from other development partners as well. One very interesting feature that came out from here is the new guideline that has been imposed by the Ministry of Finance, and that is the mix between recurrent and development budget allocation. Yeah, the ratio which they have recommended, which is right now it's fixed at about 80 to 20, 80 recurrent and 20% of the total budget that is allocated to you. I think in the making that is happening right now, it's all you are sitting at around 60% of the recurrent and roughly around 39 or 40% on the development. Maybe there are some ongoing practice that you have had and the way that the resources are allocated, so that's why it is like that. Nevertheless, I think that that it's fair to say that that's how the kind of a mix in funding to the provincial government will have to have, yeah, because of the what's the grant that you are using? PCDF. PCDF, yes, PCDF. So I think that is understandable, yeah. So Yeah, so that's the kind of feature that, seems to be featured out of that. At the same time, there are other aspects that I think, need some kind of a continuous understanding on. That is the allocation of non-appropriated, which I think for current year has been brought into the appropriation now, possibly because of other issues. Maybe you will explain as to why that had happened. A small amount of that, let's say, now sort of being, placed on non-appropriated position is roughly around 60 something, 68 million, like that. So I'm sure that others will continue to ask questions on that, and then I think the ongoing issue is that how soon can we bring that back into the appropriation. So we will wanted to hear from you on that as well too. The other thing now is the amendment to the provincial government. Work on that. How soon can that be completed? And has there been any work done in the current year? What would you foresee in 2026? So let us start off our conversation in that way, please, PS.
Chairman of Public Accounts Committee, thank you for those introductory remarks, and thank you for raising two critical points that I will address as we go on in terms of my address, if you give me an opportunity to proceed. But before that, allow me to introduce my team. I have a small team here. I have on my left, Deputy Secretary of Administration, Mr. Nelson Ari. On my immediate right, I have the Chief Technical Advisor to the Ministry, Mr. Sawane. And then closer to Mr. Sawane is the Financial Controller, Lidina. And then on the far right is the Human Resource Manager, Madam Akwai. Chair, thank you for giving the opportunity for us to raise of the issues around the budget. I will also touch briefly on some of the ministry's strategic priorities, and one of these, as you've made in your introduction, relates to the reforms or proposed reforms around the Provincial Government Act 1997. Allow me to put some background around our development budget. In terms of the development budget for next year, our envelope will be that in terms of the Solomon Islands PCDF, you will note that it's 45 million. What that means is that there's an increase of 15 million to cater for the PCDF for qualified provinces that were not given in 2023, basically because of the Pacific Games, and the funds were not given to the provinces who qualified. So that is why there's an increase in terms of 15 million. But Chair, it is 30 million that is outstanding. So for those provinces that qualified in 2023, the other 15 million, we will liaise with the World Bank to provide for the other million, because it's 30 million, as I've stated, is outstanding. What I'm saying here is that in the national budget, there's an increase of 45, 30 to 45, so 15 by government meeting. So now you look at there's an increase. Yeah. In terms of PCDF, IDA World Bank funding, 18.7 million, and then local climate adaptive living facility also provide funds for PCDF, which is around 13.7 million. And also under our development budget, we will garem now this program Provincial Township, where we will still maintaining 5 million for Provincial Township projects. In terms of recurrent budget, Blomifala Chair, for next year, our envelope will be around 156 million. And you would know that there's an increase because, or given that that around 6 million by Mifala give him go for the ward support officers. So in terms of recurrent Mifala, there's an increase to a base increase around 6 million, 6.4 million for cater for ward support officers because previously all the ward support officers here are paid under project nowhere, but this year have come to a stop now. So government come in for cater for the 173 ward support officers log at the provinces ward level. So that's why there's this increase. In terms of human resource capacity or capability, ministry and Garam 91 public servants. We are looking at new 6 positions, and in terms of IDA project, there are around 47 staffs. So that one now, human resource capacity. In terms of our strategic priorities going forward, the proposed amendments to the Provincial Government Act 1997, Chairman, him currently waiting now legal drafts. So we have had around 6 consultations waiting legal drafts person. And we also undertake a consultation around August waiting premiers. And they agreed to some of the quick fixes. So, Chairman, basically in terms of amendments around Provincial Government Act, ministry like for doing in 2 parts, in terms of quick fixes and a overarching comprehensive reviews for the Provincial Government Act. So quick fixes now, him awaiting legal drafts person. Next year, people are anticipating establishing a bipartisan committee between ministry and provinces for local broader reforms as far as the relationship between extractive industries and other existing laws, including the provinces and Provincial Government Act. So among other broader issues, that one, if I look at any part of broader review. And we will really also depend on the ongoing reforms law, extractive industries, and how by relate come law, Provincial Government Act here. So that is why, and that also explains why I'm a little bit slow, because, for example, mining, logging, have their existing acts where Okata black for amending to yeah. And how does that relate in terms of provincial governance? We have a little bit, go back to backstop a little bit for the other extractive industries legislative review, go first, then we'll campaign. That would be a good approach rather than we'll go first. Yeah. If Okta come first, if we'll campaign, then that would be a neat way to deal with some of these reforms as far as extractive industries. Because that one for look at the issues of the regime or provincial government, pretty much regime time we'll meet to yeah. In terms of a review of the PCDF, Provincial Capacity Development Fund, before me update law that for strategic priority, Chairman, me also like for inform committee that this year every province now pass for PCDF, so every province accessing PCDF this year. But as you would know, there is also this is the review of the PCDF is a strategic priority, and in terms of update, the international consultant that was tasked to do the review has already submitted its report, but as far as ministry is concerned, we feel like for ensuring the views of provinces and other international stakeholders in terms of this review and comprehensive and reflecting what is happening on the ground. So at the moment, the ministry is consolidating the views of every provinces here, including those very important stakeholders like World Bank and UNCDF, for Infomum too. Really Infomum now, the draft report. So what that means is that by next year also, there should be a comprehensive report around the review of the PCDF going forward. So that one now, update law review of the PCDF. The revenue, the third strategic priority blow ministry now. A review blow, or not the review, but the revenue sharing, proposed revenue sharing scheme. Yeah. We went to cabinet and caucus as well to get some views in terms of as an information undertaking for those two very critical and important bodies. One of the conclusions, time if I go for informal cabinet and caucus, is the need for reconcile a little bit more. So the ministry undertake to consult the provincial premiers as well, August, and then the ministry has consulted two important ministries, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Finance, the accountant general, and there seems to be, I would say, some positive thinking around the revenue sharing scheme. But for the, not bad, and for the provinces, of provincial premiers, October fully supportive now, revenue sharing scheme, time for consult with August. We will also consulting Minister of Education. And all these three ministries where caucus and cabinet are consulting, they are supportive of this revenue sharing scheme. That one now update the revenue sharing scheme as a strategic priority. In terms of the provincial governance strengthening program, allow me to narrate some of the issues around that for our purposes, if you agree, Chairman.
Sure, sure.
The Ministry of Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening has continued to coordinate donor financing under the Provincial Governance Strengthening Program, PGSP, to support provincial development initiatives. As you are aware, this includes the implementation of the PCDF, which remains a cornerstone of our performance-based grant system. Between financial year 2028-2029 and financial year 2024 and 2025, a total of 1,722 infrastructure projects were delivered across 9 provinces. So what does that mean? It generates approximately 9,222 jobs in the construction sector. Of the total expenditure of around 413 million, 27%, around SBD 115 million, was invested in education infrastructure, and 11%, which is around 45 million, in health facilities. Additionally, 562 water and sanitation projects have been completed, the PCDF now. The ministry must acknowledge with gratitude the continued support of the government, which has been instrumental in sustaining donor confidence and contributions to the PCDF. The ATM always maintained. Looking ahead, Chairman, the provincial governments plan to deliver over 400 new projects over the next 3 years, with an estimated investment of SPD 424 million. There is a shortage in financing, but the ministry will continue its pursuit of revenue sharing and enhanced cooperation with the World Bank and other UN agencies to see how financing gap can be filled. Kasi may sabi, and may introduce him local and the UN CDF and World Bank o kata come in for LPM. So yeah, we will be looking into once there are gaps. In terms of the integrated economic development and community resilience project under law PGSP, Chairman, under this initiative, it is mandatory that 42% of PCDF grants, whether funded by World Bank or Solomon Islands government or UNCDF, or yes, must be allocated to resilient economic infrastructure. In practice, 75% of projects delivered since 2022 meeting that fall criteria below economic resilience infrastructure projects. So what are the achievements below IDA project here? In terms of community-led planning, there are 60% of projects were identified by ward development committees. Now, we established law 173 wards, so we are giving the opportunity for people at the ground level to make decisions in terms of what they want for the purposes of development at ground level. So last time we talked about state-society relations here, and key. Capacity building over 519 training courses has been conducted, covering development planning, governance, grievance management, procurement, bookkeeping, and climate adaptation. In terms of fund transfers, Chairman, since 2022, around SBD 6.1 million has been transferred to ward development committees, enabling 573 macro projects. And at the moment, there are 763 projects ongoing here. Chairman, if you want some statistics, these initiatives have reached 419 beneficiaries. 52% of the beneficiaries are women, 52%. And in terms of donor support, as a key achievement, the World Bank IDA program has budgeted over SBD 53 million for capacitating now the ward development committees. And in that regard, I must also acknowledge the support of UNCDF and UNICEF for further capacitating now of the provincial governments. Another key aspect of the IDA project may relate to transparency and accountability mechanisms here. So in terms of ward forums, there are over 400 citizens that have participated in forums where ward development committees executives of the report law how now grant hemi used, including PCDF allocations. Also, there is the establishment of the provincial government, provincial performance forums. And as you would note, him conducted every 9 provinces. And these forums, you would note that is led by the provincial public accounts committees. And the present team now during those forum audit reports, budgets, and how PCDFME or the PCDF performance assessments for public scrutinizing. Time we talk about good governance, PCDF has provided those mechanisms around the need. State society, people say what now going on as far as PCDF concerned, in terms of how selenium use and all these things. And also community engagement in terms of transparency and accountability mechanism. PCDF is very clear on that as well. And this participatory model has significantly enhanced public awareness and trans-law governance blocking issues here, among others. Of course, there are also challenges. Chairman, because I finished now, in terms of midterm review, evaluation findings, in terms of IDA, a beneficiary survey has been conducted under the World Bank funded IDA project, revealing that over 100,000 beneficiaries reached in 35 months, 54% of them female. And all 173 wards demonstrate, as far as this survey is concerned, inclusive participatory planning, including women and youth. Also, as far as this beneficiary survey is concerned, when conducted under World Bank IDA project, 173 ward development committees train low climate resilience. 75% of respondents this survey also confirming improved grievance resolution mechanisms. 92% of reported cases have been resolved, and as far as this survey is concerned, that 23% of communities are reporting improved engagement with provincial governments, with WDC or Ward Development Committees plans now targeted into provincial budget and investment plans. Another key aspect of IDA project have to do with digital transformation. So I'm happy to also inform the committee that under project there is under the project law 2025 there will be 59 Starlink units. 59 Starlink units will be deployed to remote locations for enhancing digital connectivity and participatory planning using technology for connect Golo the world level as far as PCDF related issues are concerned. But we can harness that technology for other purposes in terms of the governance of selling blow government, or CDF. The Solomon Islands government 2026 budget has allocated funding to mainstream 173 ward support officers into provincial establishment. And as I've stated, initially recruited under the World Bank project, these officers have played a critical role in facilitating participatory planning among other purposes, including social accountability and climate resilience. In terms of strategic planning and climate adaptation integration, as far as IDA is concerned, with the support of IDA, UNICEF, and UNCDF, 173 ward profiles have been drafted and validated by members of provincial assemblies and their respective communities. Chairman, these profiles form the foundation for the compilation of the 10-year provincial strategic plans block the 9 provinces here. So in coordination with UNCDF, additional international and local consultants have been engaged to refine these plans and embed 10-year climate change adaptation strategies within each provincial framework. So the plans here in terms of climate change, and as far as you know, climate change has a negative ramifications in terms of local level governance, economic development. So in terms of strategies, provinces, there is a need for taking into account climate change strategies going forward. Chairman, a consolidated 10-year development plan for all 9 provinces incorporating climate adaptation strategies for the first time will be formally handed over to the provincial premiers next year, February. This document, subjected to review, will serve as a guiding framework for future provincial investment plans and budget appropriations. Chair, to conclude, allow me to highlight the fact that Ministry remain committed to deepening transparency, enhancing community participation, and delivering resilient infrastructure through mutual coordinated donor and government support. Chair, I must thank the Public Accounts Committee for its continued oversight and partnership in advancing governance reform. Chairman, talk long little bit. Thank you so much for your patience and indulgence. Thank you.
Thank you, PS. Well, members of the committee, PS has made very, very important presentation to our committee, law work that they are doing. And I hope that, all that you have briefed the committee on, in some ways, the budgetary implications are featured in the 2026 budget. I hope that will be the case. And I will allow the members to ask questions very shortly. You have run through a few things here, especially on the reform of the Provincial Government Act. I think you have divided them into twofold. This one, the quick fixes. Maybe others will ask the question, what is involved in the quick fix? And then another one, and let me forget him, what is it? For structural.
Yeah, the broader review.
Broader review.
Yeah, a very more comprehensive review around.
Perhaps that has some relationship to the federal issue as well too, yeah?
Something also.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, state society governance have always got him that kind of a divide anyway, so.
Right, Chairman.
So, yes, so that's on that. And then you came to the issue of revenue sharing, which has been an ongoing issue. I think all the Public Accounts Committee in the past have been asking you how you're going to approach that one, yeah? Let's hope that by now you may have reached some kind of an understanding as to how you're going to go forward with it. Maybe later on you can brief the committee on that. What does that involve? Is it more of a vertical distribution, or does that also entail a horizontal revenue sharing? Because there's always two parts to revenue sharing in any federal divide, whether it be just between the top tier to the lower tier, or even those at the equal tier or below here, I must say. So interesting to hear from you. Which approach are you taking? What does that revenue sharing involve? Is it more of a quantum revenue sharing, or are we sharing all powers, taxation powers? What does that involve? I must say. And then I think you touched a little bit on the PCDF, the funding part of it. Now you have distributed to local, and also there is a donor component to it, isn't it? I think in the long run you wanted to tie them together and then bring in more of accountability, transparent mix to it, so that the other partner, I'm got confidence in continue to fuel it, yeah, every year. Is that something also you tell him? Maybe later you'll talk about that, but yeah, it's interesting, some statistics that you have provided, and it would be good for you to provide that kind of statistics for our secretariat, so that we can report some support, or maybe some Ival no criticize mother too much law PCDF. Ival easy law as to how another distribution. Is it based on better performance management and effective delivery, or is it something that you have locked up to some kind of an allocation toward to the various regions, yeah, or provinces? You brought in the gender part too, there, yeah, where I'm touching on the women. I think it's good for you to, I think our secretary, by picking up from report there,
yes,
once you give it, so that we can feature that, and then give some kind of a impression to Parliament, some accurate reporting, yeah, because Minister believes all the time, I'm stand up there, I'm not the time good to you, by problem, I mean, it's, yeah. It would be good to see those part to it, yeah. And then this new one where I'm coming, what, yeah, resilience, climate resilience, economic and climate resilience, yeah. Yeah. So this road that international funding is coming through versus the right agency to deal with climate change. Now it's through provincial government. So we have two windows to have the funding coming in, isn't it? One provincial government, this one where Mivale has started, the Ministry of Climate Change. You can just tell us, why it is more. Are you getting more than them, or you're delivering more low climate lens than these guys, or how? I mean, is that something that has been under your watch, that you have been assessing whether or not it was you getting a bigger share for climate related programs, or through this Ministry of Climate Change here? And if the choice by donors is through you, why not them? Yeah, it would be to hear that, and so that, when we sit with them, we can say to them, oh, this window is more preferable to the donor than yours, something of the same, yeah? And then you brought in this IDA. What is IDA? International Development Agencies? Or what is IDA? What now? You guys came across IDA? IDA?
Yeah, IDA. IDA basically, program under provincial,
Okay.
A provincial government, PGSP.
Okay.
Yeah, component under, yeah.
But what does that acronym stand for?
So,
IDA.
IDA now, Mumudu, integrated.
Development.
I will give it to
Okay.
Mumudu for.
That's why it's always useful to have your CTO, advisor, next to you. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. You have two IDA. Sometimes it causes confusion. Yeah. So IDA is International Development Agency, which is the main donor to the World Bank. So the funding we get from World Bank, it comes through the IDA at the Ministry of Finance. Okay. Then we have a project which is called Integrated Economic Development and Community Resilience. So that is IEDCR. So we call it IDA in short.
Okay.
What is the name of the project? Integrated Economic Development and Community Resilience.
Okay. So that is.
It's too long, so we say IDA.
Okay.
You should say ACDA.
ACDA.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Put him N in between, or? Oh, okay.
IEDCR.
I or da. Something like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah? Yes, okay. Yeah, we leave him that one if it's time. So we come to this IDA law provincial government. Yeah, so that, yes. So resourcing of IDA is also, I think it is important to understand, so that we know what are the resourcing windows that you have for provincial government. So I think over time, just looking at the trend that you may look here, you have done so well, but sometimes we ourselves that are fed with this information may not understand it. So please, if Allah help them to understand it. Sometimes we look at you guys, and then you guys move around with big money around there. Everyone has become so this critiquing kind of antenna. Yeah, me put them go up now. But I think it would be good for you to really make some explanation on that, and our secretariat can have the benefit of those notes, so that people can understand that emotion. We don't want to compete with having the resources from you guys, because that kind of a contestation does happen. Whenever there is a resources around, they'll always catch him attention of people and say, why are them big the resource like that? Why like that? Yeah. But those two parts, it seems that on climate resilience, you are getting more funding than the Ministry of Environment. Maybe you can just clarify to us why your pathway is more preferable to the World Bank and then these guys. Right. They are always attending COP meeting, but have not been successful in bringing anything from COP. So if they are not successful, tell them reducing delegation next time. If that's a message that you can tell us, then we can tell them that I think. Work smartly like those in the provincial government, and then you can draw resources from what financial agencies that are specialized in the areas of climate related. Voilà, now delegation, yeah, or could be that you guys take the full team blue, you will go and plant it there and then make them look better, then you will come back more, something was, I mean, something, arrangement like that can be done in future. Those are just initial comments. You need not to respond to them, or the others here will have questions to ask. Please ask questions to this team. Georgia, you want to start off, please?
Thank you, Chair. Me happy for him that Mr. Bleu may continue to work on the provincial government, the proposed amendment to the Act in two parts. Me agree that we have to do something quicker. So it's like a quick fix here. Right, but even know what kind of quick fix they will like put him go there. Yeah? That one later on by himself. The second part where you talk about, me a little bit confused. Law speech from the Crown, His Excellency say, hemi revenue sharing bill. Hemi announce him, staka time. Staka now. You talk about revenue sharing scheme. Not bill. Well, a GG, different story. So, which one now? Ministry, hemi, by advancing the announced bill, or this was a proposed scheme? No first question.
Allow him to answer that.
Yes.
All right, thank you. First, Chair, like for thanking you too for making important comments around some of the issues when we raise him, but I may reply them later. But with your permission, I want to like for answer him now. Question law, Honorable Dean Kuku. Yeah, me basically use him to interchangeably no more. Yeah? So the bill is the maybe you would like to see it as the
overarching.
Yeah, overarching. It's the proposed by Mr. Law. Yeah, him no bill scheme. Yeah, him now factored within the bill. But to answer your question, in terms of the update around the revenue sharing bill or scheme, I would say that given new government come in, okata tu garem on views and ideas blokata in terms of tasking us to really go back law some of these important stakeholders for really looking how now for you may craft him now so revenue sharing scheme and I will with your permission give the chief technical advisor for a little bit update him you may too briefly around the framework and how now by scheme look how look yes. So I will give the chief technical advisor to do that. But before Hemi proceed on, I would like to pick on the idea raised by the chairman in terms of the local facility or local climate adaptive facility whereby climate funding come in. The reason why ministry, provincial government, UNCDFM interested for channel come now, this for local funding, local funding now, local adaptive living facility, a funding from the United Nations Capital Development Fund. The question is why? Why na ministry? Because of PCDF. Yeah. Okata interested and looking success pro PCDF. So okata like use him now mechanism for putum come insulin so that okata in terms of standards blogata for purposes of provinces meeting the requirements. Framework lo dia now PCDF framework na so the standard, the measures, the performance measures or the criteria. You may know. 20 more than you want more no governance framework lo dia no. That's the real reason why okata because donors would want to see. They give their money. How do you account for this money? Why do you get this money? That one key, and as you rightly know. So that's the reason why
that.
In there, because of the success of the PCTF. Yeah.
Can I ask you one part of them? Make you answer that one. Is it going through appropriation in that process? Is there either component when come sorry, even one me?
Yes.
That local party.
And factored by looking factored inside na lo budget yeah.
Low budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under UN CDF yeah. Yeah. Low budget na under UN CDF. But allow me to with your permission give the
Please.
CTA Mr. Sawan.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. I think as far as revenue share is concerned, we have had discussions with Education, Minister of Health, and also with the Minister of Finance.
Yes.
So in those discussions and presentations, we presented two things. One, the vertical allocation system. And number two, the horizontal allocation system, the criteria used for the horizontal distribution of whatever fund is agreed. For the vertical allocation, initially we thought of 15%. That was before COVID-19, but after COVID, we brought it down to 8% as vertical allocation. So this 8% means 8% of domestically collected revenue by the national government. It excludes any loan and grants. So what is collected domestically is what the provincial governments want to share with the national governments to the tune of 8%.
So can you pause there? So when you say that it excludes loans and grant to the revenue of the state,
any loan
or
granted to the national government,
is excluded in that
package here.
In that package that the revenue sharing will apply.
Yes,
so
yes.
It's dedicated purely to just locally collected revenue.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
there is no tax sharing powers in there based on the principle of derivatives.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is mainly straightforward calculation. And then we come down to the horizontal allocation where we have 7 criteria. One is fixed allocation, which is about 35%. That is, if the amount is 200 million, 35% of that would be divided equally amongst the 9 provinces. This principle has been derived in order to ensure that the smaller provinces are not overly disadvantaged. And it follows the decision of the 9 premiers when they met in Taro in 2011, that the PCDF should be divided amongst the 9 provinces. 40% of the sum should be equally divided, so that the smaller provinces can also get something for their development. So we have been using that principle since 2011. And this is going to enable the smaller provinces with lesser population to get something to develop themselves. Then another one is the contribution to the economy. So we've been able to manage managed to get data from the central bank for that. And we did that computation, which is about 15% of the total sum. And then poverty index, we also did the studies, and we also obtained data from national statistics about the poverty index. So we are using the official poverty index for the allocation of 15% to that criteria. Then we also have size of the province, that is the kilometer. We have allocated 5% of that. So the bigger the province in terms of size, then you get something from that 5%. And we have cost of service provision. We have allocation for that. We also have allocation for population. So about 25% of the total sum will be distributed according to the population factors. And then the final one is the performance. So there is a percentage allocated for performance. So that will normally change after the annual assessment by the provincial governments. So this one is important because we want to ensure that this fund is fully accounted for. So if you take the performance out, there will be no accountability to this fund. And then the national government may hesitate at one point in time, to continue or not to continue. So I think that is the 7 areas we have been socializing with the various ministries, provincial leaders, and also with the Minister of Finance. So we're supposed to go back to Accountant General and the team to do another presentation so that they can advise the cabinet based on what we are presenting to them. Thank you.
So the issue here is that, you are socializing those 7
Yes.
identified areas, and are you going to pick all of them or just one of them? Is that the idea, or is it, there will be a combination of some sort?
We look at a lot of factors, but at the moment we are using the 7 because the whole idea is the moment this is approved by the government, there's going to be a revenue sharing commission set up by the government. And that commission will have the responsibility of doing a complete review of whatever criteria after 1 or after 2 or 3 years, whether it is working well or not. So some of these criteria here might be dropped, some new ones may come in. At least to start with the 7 that have been well defined. We took the 7 because they can be objectively defended. We have the data to back up the calculations.
So when you're looking at that, I mean, the other important bit to this is, of course, when you're giving more money to provinces, you ought to give them the personnel, the human resource to be able to do the work and the functions, the powers. So what's happening with those other tools? You're talking just about the cash. What about human resources and powers, legal powers?
Yeah, thank you. Since 2019, the ministry has been preparing for revenue sharing. And as a result, it has intensified capacity building to get the provinces ready for revenue sharing. Capacity building in terms of numbers, qualified officers at the provincial level. So for the past...
So what you're talking about is give them more cash, but the levels of human resources that they currently have is adequate to provide services at provincial government level. Is that what you're saying?
Well, at the moment they have adequate human resources, but then, I mean, increasing the number will always be good for them if the resources are available.
So I've been misled by this whole exercise this whole time. I've been under this assumption that we are decentralizing, truly decentralizing governance. And so we're giving, a fair chunk, both of financial and human resources down. The size of the public service in Honera is then reduced. And because where that goes, the human and financial resource go, functionality must go also. It reduces what the central government will end up doing. But what you're saying is no, you're merely perpetuating the status quo but giving more money so they can do a little bit more. P.S. I have to say I'm very disappointed.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Matthew Wale, for that comment. I think we need to also understand that this revenue sharing scheme, I mean, one for amendment, no more Provincial Government Act. So other issues where you raise him would be part and parcels of the substantial reforms around Provincial Government Act.
Yeah, but I thought you've been consulting on this for the last, as far as I can remember, since my one talk came, 10 years ago or something, I started hearing, PAC, we've been receiving this revenue sharing thing forever. So I now it appears, falsely assumed that was a more comprehensive process, looking at all of these other resources that provinces need. Education, provinces are already providing it. We're funding it, but it's done through the Ministry of Education. Certainly that could easily be devolved. Health is another one. and so forth. But that's not what you're doing. You're not talking about that at all. So it's a very, much smaller than, for something that small, it's taken us 10 years to talk about it. There's no efficiency of decision making on it. It's quite disappointing.
I mean, the point that Leader M. Talemna is that there has to be, I mean, if you're giving more cash, there has to be a reduction of human resource to it.
Right.
Or you have to consider that in its whole entirety too. Is that the same human resource that you are allocating to them, or and then you maintain the same human resource allocation, and then you give an extra cash look at that, this revenue sharing? I want to make my point on this subject. I'm a little bit writing me. Revenue sharing. It's part of my decentralization thesis. You mean by a little bit run into problem once you guys do this, all about, coming up with, niche or identified areas and sharing of percentage. There's always a problem in quantum sharing here. That's why I ask you about the taxation power here. Because once you give that, the region themselves will identify where the taxation power, where they can raise enough money to build up that capacity, finance the whole capacity, then it is non-contestable. So you felt the thing a little bit low that part here. When we come to just sharing normal quantum, there will be contestation. There are regions around the world that have gone through this problem. Even the most advanced region democracies like Germany, these were some of the initial discussions that they have in building up their federation. So we'll go back lower there. In Africa, they haven't settled well. One don't believe you, by decentralization. Nigeria is into a lot of mess on it. Even Kenya, so try to look good normal or something. That's my reaction to what Naivala try to do. I think the power of taxation is very important. Where we give tax powers to countries, to regions, to be able to raise that money. And then whatever extras can go. I mean, the Australian Federation is doing that one. It's all principle of deriving what percentage out of a particular state. The center, Canberra, I'm retaining some, or Sambala, I'm retained by the states. So, I don't know. I mean, that 7 points where you walk a it will be a real contestation. Anyway, I mean, you do a good information. Maybe a good paper, should come to all of us. Parliament should be part of this discussion so that not only all the premiers here.
Right.
All the premiers here will be almost in the same situation. Try to share some information and literature on what now you've been working on, so that all of us can contribute on it.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for those important insights around revenue sharing, and thank you, Honorable Oale, for your insightful comments around around how Ministry conducting reforms plan, but approaches as well. Thank you for those.
You mustn't think small. You need to think big. I think that is a problem of thinking small. The recent public service bill that was passed a few weeks ago. The minister announced then that by every direct employees below provinces will be assimilated into the public service. This is an interesting policy initiative. Good. They should be paid the same as in public service. On the remuneration side, good. But on the decentralization side, does that now place them under direct control of central government? There's been no honest debate around that. So all of the bills that have come before Parliament have been to re-centralize power. You talk about mining and, Ivalulukloemlo province. Well, the mining bill is now before the Bills Committee, and I can tell you there is no role for provincial governments. It's re-centralizing all of those powers.
Is that coming?
I'm already here, yeah. So, you know, all the legislations that have come, it's all about re-centralization. Yeah. We're going opposite to what is clearly the need, and of course, wanting people like him, greater decentralization.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Wala, for those comments.
Chair, me agree with him what leader of opposition tell him. Suggest him come that we will amend him. It's a quick fix, yeah? This was a second appointed day, people out him now.
Yeah.
Lalaya one, eh?
True now.
Second appointed day, and put devolving function. You are not devolving every time go speech, and no anything. You have never devolved any function. Out him now. Yeah. So that they will not be called second appointed days anymore. So that one for where
I don't agree with them. Me like tell them too.
Thank you.
So let's start talking to him or him, no more. And that leads me to my observation law budget blockage.
Yes,
No way. PS lo blomi lo budget ya. Go di wal garim slen ya. Look like ministry, ministry blow provincial government ya. Ministry blow administration no more and finance. Yeah.
Law FI, International Financial Institution.
Ministry. You look at the provincial government division here. Provincial governance division. Fufala man no more lo him. Fufala. Establishment here not tell him. There are more finance officers in the ministry than provincial governance division. More human resource personnel. So, Fufala normal there. It's very interesting. Time Fufala stop, every province pass. PC, what is it?
CDF.
Yeah, everyone pass now. So, time you got him low number low there now, everyone pass. Or it could mean no anyone no more go assess him, then pass him go no more. Because no anyone low there. Story him no straight. Messages him little bit talk different. Documents tell him or same something else. So if there are only 4 that carries out all the assessment that everyone pass, keep him 4 years no more. No, what vacancies out him. That's my point. Why do you need additional people when they have done a job well done? Him or same. Last time, I think Imigarim stuck a law division, yeah? Stuck a fail, stuck a provinces fail. Them numbers him low, everyone pass. Pass ya no, me like him a piece. Both provinces pass. So, him no make sense lo me. Yeah? Why should you reduce the number in that division when that is the core function of the Ministry of Provincial Government? And no point me like for simply. Thank you, Chair.
It's a very significant point. Yes. Can you respond to that?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Dean, for that important question. I will give a question to the Human Resource Manager to make some comments around that very critical and important observation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, PS, for giving me this opportunity. Okay, as you can see in the establishment, this is visible for the Ministry of Public Service establishment. So we have 4 seconded officers in each provinces, where at supporting of the provincial direct employees. So our seconded officers were based in the provinces. They are from the public service, public servants. And Ottawa with them, the direct employees of the provincial government. And we have specialists where or the project team here, we work together with them, everyone. So in this establishment where you look in here, him only for the Ministry of Public Service, where come under Ministry of Provincial Government and posted out in the provinces to support the delivery service of the government to the province. So, him number you looking there, but we have more staff there than us here in the province, the headquarter. I think, thank you, PS. Him number I respond to him.
Thank you, HR. And if I may add, Chairman, in terms of assessment of PCDF, yeah, he done externally, yeah. And so I will, to provide more insight and light into the assessment, I will give it to the Chief Technical Advisor for a little bit briefly provide him some insights into how no assessment him carried out and what's the mechanics there in terms of the assessment.
You may hold on this time, and then can you continue with that?
Yes, Question Blumino is not on the assessment, yeah? Not the assessment criteria, but it's the relationship between manpower, yeah? Yeah, manpower blow ministry and worker blow ministry. If you look law establishment here, no matter what garim seconded staff out there, am I right? But law ministry for no maya. Division law ministry law from the government, you all garim only 4. Everything work good. For Faleno, but him work good. But then the ministry should be Ministry of Provincial Government. Yeah. There should be more officers looking after provinces than finance officers, than human resource personnel. I'm not point below me here. Yeah? Nobody me change him name to become the Ministry of Human Resource and Finance Officers. Also, no man. Because provincial governments are insignificant now, law establishment here. Now you may say put him 10, but still there are a lot of vacancies there. But currently, when you are saying every provinces pass, only 4 no. That's the number I'm there. If you may increase him, but you may achieve more, that's the question. But you may achieve more, or we will, but you may still achieve him the same.
PS, you got that question?
Well, Chair, thank you. I would give it to the Chief Technical Advisor for providing some views around that important, very important observation. As someone where I'm staying there for the last 15 years, okay. I guess he would have some insight around your very, very important and insightful observation. Thank you, Chair. If I may give it to the Chief Technical Advisor.
TTO, I mean...
Mr. Sawane, TTA.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think there is a direct correlationship in the sense that, I mean, when you look at the ministry, the main role is to supervise and also capacitate the provincial governments to deliver services. Yeah? So what the ministry has been doing all along is to ensure resources are provided to provide qualified officers to be stationed at the provincial level, to be paid well, so that they are retained and they support the service delivery by the provincial governments. And this has been the case for quite a long time now. And recently, more than 45 new officers for the past 3 years have been added to the provincial establishment by the ministry through SIG funding. That's where you have all these specialists, 27 of them, accounting specialists, procurement specialists. Every province has one. And then the ministry also added, through the recurrent budget of the provinces, another 18 qualified engineers. So at the moment, every province has a qualified engineer. So the ministry is building the capacity of those people in order to support the service delivery. And then with the coming of these projects, another 47 officers have been added to the provincial establishment. So, and some of them are being mainstreamed so that when the project finishes, the officers will stay within the province in order to continue to support the provincial governments. So the PCDF assessment is not only about giving resources to the provinces, but it is also a capacity gap, identification. So when the reports come, the ministry will look at the report and see what are the issues in terms of human resources. And then the following year, try to find solutions to those issues so that those provinces will come up to speed with other provinces who are performing well. And then the assessment is conducted by independent assessors who are not working for the government and they have no, working relationship with any of the provincial governments, so that the reports would be very objective. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I
Sorry.
think the point that has been raised by Honorable New Georgia is that with the units that you have here, those capacity that you have here, and the task that they will do to monitor those that have been posted out to the provinces. I think you made a very good point about, being able to have those appointed officers, to attach to those provinces, not only immediately to attend to what is required under the project delivery protocol that you have to those provinces, but in the end they will build up capacity, so that at the end of the project they can be there, like that. Is that point, you got that? I think that we have come to some understanding on that, so I think that's good. Yes. Peter, you want to say something?
Yeah. Well, different. So.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Just two things I wanted to raise, and so I'm very impressed with the institutional side of the work that you've done to strengthen provincial governments and to incentivize them. That's been good. As you continue with the revenue sharing, there's more capacity to increase that work. But as we were saying before, I think you need to think much bigger than what you've been thinking. It's too narrow. Having said that, a part of that institutional strengthening has been, for very obvious reasons, and I've said this on a number of occasions before, so my Wantok will remember this. You've come down hard on provincial commercial enterprises, and you've said no more Malaita Development Authority, Ramos Singh down finish, Western Development Authority, Makira, and the rest of it, although WPIC still exists, and because it has property and so forth. At best, I think that was a transitionary situation. We must encourage long-term, we must encourage provincial governments to explore raising revenue through commercial enterprise, or even not just raising revenue, but creating jobs in their jurisdictions and delivering services through commercial enterprise. And so their capacity to be able to own and exercise governance over such entities, I think, has to be in your long-term planning. You talk about mining. Well, we should be encouraging provincial governments to start thinking big so they can have more benefits going to them and their landowners if they were engaged in mining operations or companies or holding companies and so forth. We mustn't limit them, I suppose is my point, but build the capacity to be able to engage meaningfully. Secondly, the member for South New Georgia and I just came back from a lovely time we had in Rennell.
Oh, goodness.
Nitfal Golo Lake, member below South New Georgia, me jump inside lake and say, Bar Osem Rovian Stret now.
Well, this is conservation.
Yeah, we had a great time there. And we had a number of meetings with, ordinary people, But of course, we also had a briefing with the Premier who happened to be there. One of the constant issues I was raising with him, and I hadn't known this, was that Provincial Assembly blogger are never there. Or it's stop normal or but not there. They're here somewhere. And apparently, this is not just a recent thing. This has been going on for a number of terms now. I don't know how this could be in any of your governance assessment mechanisms that I mean acceptable. It's a totally unacceptable situation. I mean, if anybody wants to run a province from Honiara, they should just give it up. Let you run it, the ministry. So I don't know how you permit it, because it seems, I mean, go ahead, because you will permit him no more, PS. So you do need to take steps. What steps are you going to take? How are you going to take those? But the current situation is unacceptable, untenable. The fact that it's gone on for too long is beyond me.
Chair, yes. Thank you, Honorable Matthew Wale, for that observation. And yep, you are right in terms of that observation. That for province, it's a little bit of a hard nut to deal with. And as you
But you have the nut government, so you're good dealing with nut.
Thank you. And the issue raised, I mean, also important in the sense that it raises questions around the need for reform of PCDF. I was thinking about the fact that that should be a measure around the fact that provinces, in particular this particular province, the need for PCDF, clearly articulating the need for provinces in particular need for rail station. Logata provinces,
That surely is in the spirit of the Act. The Provincial Government Act assumes that provincial governments, provincial assemblies will be ordinarily domiciled in the provincial jurisdiction. It need not say it. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the Act that you must be a province. Of course, you come Lohoniara for, to do some business and go back and so forth, but to be permanently stationed away from the province. So perhaps it's a matter you need to tie to the emoluments, maybe. You spend, or their provincial assembly meetings. They're not held there either, they're held here. How incongruous is that? It's a ridiculous situation.
Thank you, Honorable, for that observation. I would ask CT if he would make some comments about that observation.
No, can I ask you a question? Do you think that the Provincial Government Act allows the provincial government administration to operate outside of their jurisdiction? Because as you know that under the Provincial Government Act, there is a demarcation of the provincial government's jurisdiction. So there is such thing as a provincial government jurisdiction. I think placed under the schedule of the Provincial Government Act. So what's the purpose of having those jurisdictions demarcated and gazetted? Okay? And then you have this provincial, an administration have actually placed themselves in exile, for instance. It's almost like a government in exile here. Most of them. It's almost like some of these rebel kind of established government that has somehow found themselves in a home quite apart from, their the original place of domicile. So you have so many of them. There are some kingdoms somewhere along South America, for instance, spiritual leader Dalai Lama is somewhere, in Saudi Arabia, I think, or in America, or Muslim. So we are also entertaining that kind of situation, but there anything, pressure or whatever on them that has made them to choose a location to position their administration in exile from their... Any pressure over there, or is it just a simple letter from you, no more, to them and say, please return to your jurisdiction, establish your headquarters over there? No matter him leave house, but him right no more hiding.
No, nice building.
It's a nice building.
Yes, Chair.
I remember giving them some resources before when I was a prime minister. Yes. Yeah.
Chair, they have a proper building and all this
Okay.
infrastructure, even internet connected law. Assembly block ataya.
So they one in the choice for the Starlink.
Okata certainly. I mean, even if Okata no garms me from login Starlink, Okata the internet is connected currently. Internet connected lo there.
Wow.
And as far as the ministry is concerned, me follow warning, give him a warning to warning letters and all these things. But the point I raised earlier was like maybe that would be a minimum standard law, PCDF. If Okata continue for stay here, then they would fail. That would
CDF and go people.
The people.
You need to
cannot
penalize
penalize
them. So emoluments now, you say you stop law here, you not take them salary, also no more.
Or you disobey order below it. Follow up, Minister. Yeah. Tell them that they won't be considered as a government because they exist. They chose to be in exile.
right.
Yeah. So, is it something that you think that will lead eventually to cause some kind of a suspension? Nothing. There are governments that are not supposed to be suspended. It will take action lower than in the
Right.
past. Yeah.
Think,
Some assemblies that are performing very well, immediately dissolve in order too.
right.
This one was done by their own choice. So, but no suspending order first time. Call them to your office and tell them, please, it would be really, really, a good thing, yeah, and say some nice words to them. We'll give you some award, something was here. Yeah, we'll give you an extra supplementation for next year. Take him, come and blow you me, lo there, go back lo there. Yeah,
Thank you, Chairman, for those important insights.
sure. Because remember, they have contributed so much to this country, and then
Right.
there are certain things that are still outstanding. State him need to compensate him with the people who run Belgium. On the box side, one year, 30 how much? 30 or so the revenues to both communities, community projects, landowners, provincial government that have been taken away. I mean, we need to have some kind of a reparation approach to that. Yeah, emotion. We got to repair the damage here. Then make some good, image to them. We got to help them. I'm normal of that one. I want to come to the extractive aspect that I didn't mention today. We have me featured from your. Do you think that you will have a chance to be able to put in your hands on to the extractive here to build into the provincial government act? Because, like what leader was saying, no chance at all. Like them, come here now. These guys aren't giving any power to them. We continue to ask them, devolve. They are recentralizing. So, what's your comment on that? I'm conscious about time, but
Right.
maybe you give us a final comment on that one.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, that's a challenge. Yeah, that's a very big challenge around the crafting of the extractive industry and the relationship between provinces. So that is why I can only comment in the sense that is why me fala little bit hold first time, then me fala look na lo the reforms below or the extractive industries ministries here. Then we fall by looking how do we work out a mechanism whereby work for provinces. Let me comment on some normal. Yeah.
But that approach where you take them now, that you say that, that you find a time when they reach out, then you automatically attract you to be part of that. Or maybe Baba may wait too long now, yeah? Don't you think? Because, if we are going to wait for those ministries to come forward with a reform, and then maybe the thinking that you have is that there will be a point in time, sometimes, when they do those reforms, they will invite provincial governments to come in, yeah? So you don't want to take a front line in pushing them to come forward. But you represent the provincial government, yeah?
You must frontline.
You must front line now.
Important.
You represent the provincial government. And you represent the people that own those resources. I don't think you should take a backstage here. You should be up front. What do you think about that, PS?
Well, Chairman, thank you for that direction as well. That would also help the ministry. But what Mr. Lemon, just one of those options no more. Another option would be also mutual taleme mifalo front now. So that would be the part and parcels of the broader reforms where mifala or to talk about.
It's like this, in a power contestation, those at the higher power will always, when they know that, the enjoyment of those powers will somehow be either diminished, the way they will hold on. They will drag their feet. Me like Talem Samala had something low, but also slow no more. So the next level that we should be looking for would be the next tier, provincial government. So get engaged with them. I mean, if these guys up there are not waking up, to do the right thing, the right reforms, then the next level should put that pressure, I must. So, but just watch it, no man, good. Like sticky come fall down, no same time you will push low himself. You need some skillful operators like both of you. Your CTA seems to be quite good, yeah. 15 years low there, that's pretty good. And yourself there, yeah. So please initiate some kind of arrangement that we can get all the provincial government and then push them now those reforms,
Right.
yeah, into the extractive and possibly the mainstream tax-related laws too. Some a lot of provinces, believe me, are matured enough to apply taxation laws here. These three big provinces can do it. So you may start off one time more tax law decentralization rather than this federalism. Federalism, and then me like in normal one note, stop I'm not second appointed day celebration. Let's stop it. It's not building unity block accountability. And I'm supposed to be marking not devolution of power. Yeah. We aren't devolving anything. Yeah. In fact, we are spending more by even some of the leaders blaming go around waste time no more and come back also no more. Anyway, yeah. I think we have done very well with them. Thanks for the conversation that we have had with you. Yes. Continue with all those areas where you walk along here, and we wish you well in the way that you are going to go forward with the implementation of the 2026 budget. But for now, thank you for appearing before the committee. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
So,